So I'd like to introduce our guest, Kit Willow. Kit is the founder of the Australian label KitX. KitX strives to be a pioneer in the design-led, sustainable and ethical fashion industry. And ultimately, she would like to produce luxurious garments that are globally desirable.
So I started the label a few years ago. I had a label prior to KitX called Willow, and have always been very interested in saving the planet, in loving fashion, in loving the design process, building a brand, and consciously as well. What I didn't realise is that fashion impact on the planet is extremely profound, being the second biggest polluter in the world behind oil. And most of the toxicity comes from materials. It's not from careers, it's not from the retail packaging. It's actually, everything obviously impacts, but the greatest impact is material selection. So when I heard that, I thought, right, that's really like the big calling for me now, is to create a fashion label that is both beautifully desirable and sensual, and not to compromise that, but consciously sourced to minimise the impact on the planet. And to do that, I needed to educate myself on what the impact materials have, which ones are good and why they're good, and which ones are bad and why they're bad. So I spent a year, or probably about 7 months, heavily researching, and I worked with a wonderful girl called Jocelyn Whipple, who's based in London, and she consults to EcoAge and a number of other foundations like Fashion Revolution as well, globally on textiles and what is good, and suppliers that are doing really positive textile development. And I also travelled to India and met artisans and spoke to them about what challenges they face, and looked at the beautiful textile that they're creating, most importantly. So in doing all of that, I was then ready to start sourcing materials for KitX. And I had time also within that 7-month period to really create a brand bible. Okay, what is it like? What is KitX? And I put sort of a whole images together, it's sculptural, it's the bone, it's about the true honesty of the garment. It's not about lots of surface design, wheels and bells. It's more about the fabrics that we're using, really getting the textiles and seeing what they want to do, and how they want to develop, and then working on the sound or on the body, and really creating looks with the material and working with the brain and not fusing it, and trying to make it do something that it doesn't want to do. So the bone of the garment was very important. Also high frequency, so like a high frequency wear, because the other thing, in the last 20 years, fashion sales have more than doubled. The fashion sales have gone like this, and usability, it started here at fashion sales, has gone like this. So at one point we're here, the other point we're here, which means that gap is actually in landfill. So the increase in sales has ended up in landfill, leading to like 1,300 tons of discarded fashion in landfill every year, which gives off toxic chemicals like carbon dioxide as it's breaking down, and in most cases it will never break down because it's got synthetic fibres in it, like nylon, polyester, acetate. So in that increase in sales, there's been a huge demand on the limited resources of water, fresh air, and also on work. So you see what happened in Rana Plaza, where there's basically people below the poverty line with slavery to get these garments made at that retail price is so taxing on humanity, and there's someone paying for that. That is the lower class, bottom end of human society. That's who's paying, and it's not the customer paying. It will be in the future generation. They will be paying, but in the short term, it's not them paying. So they're having to buy a t-shirt for $1 and things like that. But that $1, very few people benefit, and they're the owners of the fast fashion, and a lot of people pay for it, and a lot of resources pay for that. And because of that, in the long run, the planet pays, and future generations will pay. So high frequency is very important part of it. So I keep having to pull myself up going, in sort of constructing the balance of a collection. I go, okay, I've got to have the really beautiful pieces that might be the one-off amazing special pieces that may not be high frequency, but they really express the house of KitX, the atelier house, and the work of artisans and pattern makers and design, but also balance it with, the best shirt with a design tweak, and a great t-shirt with a design tweak, the best, very cool very leather jacket that you invest in, or black jacket that is very, design in cool shape, that you buy it and you're able to wear it like, minimum 50 pounds over the next few years. So that high frequency is key. And then also, and just beautiful images of nature and, that 40,000 foot view of what, really looking to the future rather than being in that sort of short-term zone of what you're doing, understanding the impact of the things you make, and having a 40,000 foot view often coming out and looking at what impact you're having is also a key driver to the brand's DNA. So that was a great exercise to be able to do, and then all of that brand DNA document, I then gave that to graphic designers to do the logo, website developers to develop the website, and also when new team members start, brief them on the core DNA of the brand so that they are really understanding what that is and can join that tribe of thinking and also add to it. So that was the beginning of it. So setting up that foundation, that base, and then off we go. Designing, sketching, breathing, textile sourcing. A lot of my design process starts with the fabrics and really getting done, and you just start to see what it wants to do, what stretch it has. It kind of tells you what it wants to be, I find. That's how I design. Some designers sketch and go straight into pattern making and invest in a few fabrics and see which one works. Whereas I like to look at the fabric, see what it is and where it wants to go, and visualise how it needs to be formed. So there are pluses and minuses with both processes, but you've got to go with the one that also suits you and makes sense for your brain and heart. And then in fashion, it's so human dependent. So, from farmers through to weavers, through to dyers, cutters, couriers, freight, customs, machinists, distributors, sales from wholesale all the way through to retail environment. I mean, before it gets to the customer and it goes home with him or her, there's an enormous amount of that are required to make that work. And therefore, fashion is an extremely complicated system, and it's also an expensive system, and it can be extremely problematic. And because it's so human dependent, you need an incredible team around you to make sure that at least you can control that, because all the outside elements that are going on, the variables that can go wrong or go right, you need a great team to be able to control that and maneuver that. So fashion is just so much about the people that you have around you, more than, you know, being an artist, you, being in fashion, not just, that's the difference, you know, being an artist. So human dependent. You've got to really respect and build your team. So I do have a great team, and you know, it's your tribe. I feel you spend half your life at work, so and probably, you know, 70% of your waking hours. So that you've got to love the people that you work with, and you need to. They've got to be your tribe of people. And that's so key. And I don't think I realised that so much. When I started Willow when I was 23, just like boom, 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 let's go. And had the dream, but just not really understanding that you've got to get your tribe right. More so than the level of experience that they have, or, you know, if they've been at Chanel for 10 years or whatever. It's like your tribe is more important, because then you have a really unique voice. That's the other thing. You know, I've just come back from Paris sales and also London. The world is an extreme competitive place in fashion now, with online as well. It really is a global landscape, and you need to stand out on that landscape. And what's your message? What's your design difference? What is going to set you apart on every shop floor and online platform? Because if it's generic, or if it's, you know, sort of derivative, it won't survive. Especially now, I think, you know, the old folk used to say, when it was just sort of the Australian retail chain, you know, it was very different, because you could copy national brands and sell them here, and they weren't available for everyone then, and you know, they'll just get by on that and do it for a cheaper price, but not anymore. But that is also that's also so important, to find your voice, and it takes time to find your voice, but be proud of it and develop it and harness it. Yeah, so that's, I mean, I could go on and on, but that's a sum up of where I started and how I created the brand and taken it onto a journey. And your customer is everything. You're, for me, as a woman, because I women's wear, but the customer is, again, part of that tribe. There's a beautiful saying, love is in all great design. And when you send out the message that's through you, people feel you're trying to pick up on that vibration and start joining. And so your customer is part of that tribe, and that is crucial to harness and look after and really respect and take her on an incredible journey as well.
Hi Kit, my name's Jackie. I work for the New South Wales Education Standards Authority, but that's a very fancy way of saying I look after the curriculum for the HSC and textiles. And in our syllabus, we have to study a contemporary designer, and you've told us so much about ecological issues that will help students doing the HSC. But can you give some specific examples of how technology would influence your everyday work and your designs for the future?
In terms of textile development, or just in general? Because there's so many ways.
Okay, so just which either way that you can give us sort of one good specific example. So is there something in production that happens that would be a good example of technological development, or is there technology that's influencing the designs that you will come up with?
I don't think technology is so much influencing design. I think where the fast pace of technology is happening in the end user space, which is the social media, messaging, sales, communication. That is what is just powering ahead. I don't think there's great technology in fashion, I have to say, on the back end. I'm constantly frustrated at the lack of technological development happening in like even like finishing seams. And like finishing hems. I'm always like, why can't they just burn, cut, and put like some kind of material on the edge so you don't have to turn it up and stitch it like we've been doing for 100 years, you know?
Okay, so that's perfect. So all the traditional methods is what is inspiring you, but so the technology of social media, that's having an impact on your business.
Yeah, in terms of the technology in fashion, in communication, it's incredible. I mean, every day I'm learning more and more about it. I find it fascinating. Yes, there is so much there, and there's so much to learn from it, and there's so much opportunity. I think there's huge opportunity available in innovation of textile development, like taking rubbish and turning it into textiles. It's happening, but it's not happening at the rate that it probably should be. But there are some amazing things going on, like marine removed from the ocean, and then it's through this decolonization technique. And that's more science and innovation, I suppose, not so much technology.
Perfect, because you've given us so much information about ecological and now technological issues that students can use, either whether they're going to go down the designing path or whether it's simply to answer their HSE questions. So it might be a perfect opportunity for the students to ask any questions if they've got something that they'd like to ask you. Mm-hmm. Well, they might want to know, we always have to know what inspires designers. So by the sounds of it, the environment and the effect of fashion on the environment is definitely one of your inspirations. But if you were just to have to list 5 inspirations that influenced your designs, other than environmental issues, what would be 4 other inspirations?
I think the environmental issue doesn't so much inspire me, it's more it creates a selection of fabrics that I'm going to use, and then those textiles then inspire me, rather than going, okay, I'm inspired by environmental issues. In terms of driving the business, I am, but not in design. Yep. So in things, okay, so like for instance, recently I was looking at biodiversity and saying, okay, we need more biodiversity. Celebrate the juxtaposition of threads and textiles, and then I sort of then combining hand woven textiles with machine woven, and contrasting different coloured seam threads together. So that was a recent, definitely a recent inspiration. I get inspired by like pattern shapes and like artists as well. So I sort of go into the absorption period where, and it only really happens when I'm at sleep. I've got at least one full day free to go to the gallery and look at magazines and just wander on the street and look in stores, but more so art. So probably I'd only have 2 or 3 of those days every year. But it's the absorption day, and I look at artists and their work, and some I connect with, and then the ones that I connect with, yeah, and then I think I just use that later, like it might be colour contrast, or it might be shapes that, really beautiful shapes contrasted together, which will inspire me, pattern shapes, or it could be sculpture. It could be anything that you kind of, you sort of have to, have that openness to then look around and wait till something hits you. And if you love it, then you connect with it, and then it transforms into something else.
I've got one more question. It's a boring question, but we always need to know about it in textiles. How does legislation influence your work? So if it came down
Like
to government legislation or labelling laws, is there an example of its impact on your designs and your business?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's opportunities like the export market development grant and things like that, which can help with marketing costs overseas. So that's one kind of government subsidy. But
Okay, yeah, that's what we don't know about.
There needs to be definitely. Pardon?
What you just said was a
I think
perfect example.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be more like subsidising textiles that have a positive impact on the planet, and almost putting tariffs on textiles that are costing the planet. That I think it definitely needs more government legislation around fashion from an environmental point of view. So I think there's an opportunity there to really further develop that.
So why do you think that there's been an increase in fast fashion? Why are we doing that?
I don't think there has been. I just read a report that says that it has, it's a fact. So 100% in the last 20 years it has doubled in sales, and the usability has halved in that difference. Why? Well, because everyone's chasing a dollar, and there are some companies that have incredible production systems absolutely mastered, like H&M, like Zara. They're no one is better at their production system, design, development, production. They're number one, but they're chasing the dollar. So in order to make more money, they have been able to reduce the retail price to a point where the people they're taking advantage of it. Have been, I don't bash them up here, but they've been taking advantage of vulnerability, like areas in Bangladesh and Cambodia and areas like that, where people are just asking for a basic fair living wage, and yet they're not even paid that. They're paid well below that, and it's labour in conditions that are extremely and deadly. So, and of course, customers are going, great, I'll buy a t-shirt for $1. Unreal. Everyone can, we're a big population on the planet, and it can appeal to a lot of people very easily. So that is sort of why that's happened, I suppose, in a simple way.
Yeah, how do you get started in the industry?
Okay, so I started Willow, as I said, when I was 23, and I just had this yearn to start my own brand, and I was looking at lingerie and going, oh my God, it's all so boring and a sea of pastel coloured lace, and it's not cool fashion lingerie, and the design that's ready to wear just doesn't express into lingerie. So I started Willow with, 6 bras and 6 pairs of knickers and 6 fashion items. And I designed it from home, and I got all the family to kind of pitch in, and I think I had $10,000. I got all these sponsorships for a show, and I went for, a show at Fashion Week, and I didn't show anyone anything before I did it, because I just didn't want my, vision to be painted by my friends, who are all great fabulous people who are very opinionated. And then did the show, the first show, it sort of went boom, and we got Browns and David Jones and Selfridges, and really impactful. But I think that it's that thing of and then the attention all comes on it, and we got a lot of press, and then buyers were interested, and customers wanted it, and it took off straight away. But I think it was that, because I started not with just fashion, with that new concept of lingerie, fashion lingerie, it really stood out as a new concept, something different. Like I was saying before, it's so important to have a very unique view that is also connecting with what is needed in the marketplace, I suppose.
What training have you done?
So that's a good question. I did commerce arts at Monash University in Melbourne. So I never studied fashion. And while I was at uni, I worked in a fashion store and I'd buy vintage, change it, and cut it up, and any fashion that I bought, I would be frustrated with the fit and I'd customize it. And that's probably why, as I design now, I work on the stand with fabric, because I don't work on cardboard. I understand that, but I can't create like that. I need to see it. So I pick up fabric and I mold it and see what it wants to do and where it wants to go. And that's how I design. And it's probably that sort of fresh approach to it rather than a traditional approach.
For your response, that was perfect. I'd like to thank you for giving us some insights into your label and how you've developed your label and the inspirations behind it, and kind of tying together some of the aspects of sustainability that we really need to be conscious of. So thanks, Kit. Thank you for coming in to participate in our video conference.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.
Thanks.
Good luck with your dream.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.